back when we were kids, we used to have a friend that used to live just down the road from here. And we used to play in this neck of the woods quite often. And it used to amaze us because the road that runs right next to us just here used to be just completely covered in trees. It was forest. I'd like to say as far as the eyes could see, but you couldn't really see very far due to all the trees. But I'd probably say about 10 years or so ago, they cut it all down and we were left with that view. It's not bad, I don't think. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. So a few years ago, I decided that I wasn't going to be pursuing photography as a full-time job. At the time, it was a very, very tough pill to swallow because it was something that I'd always wanted to do. Most of my adult life, all I wanted to do was be a full-time wedding photographer. But back in 2020, I pulled the plug on that idea. It wasn't the easiest decision to make, but looking back at it now, 5 years later, I'm really glad that that is the decision that I made. So you've got a job and you are decent with a camera. Chances are you've probably thought to yourself at some point, should I start a photography business, and is it something that I can do alongside my full-time job? So I'm just here to say that not only was I in that position, but I still am in that position. I registered as a business in 2012, and I made the decision in 2020 that I didn't want to pursue it as a full-time career. So I shot my first wedding back in 2011, and this was probably about 6 months before I started my business. At the time, I was working a job in hospitality that I really didn't enjoy, and I saw photography as a bit of a way out of that. So armed with, at the time, my Canon 30D, my Canon 550D, the 18 to 55 kit lens and the Nifty 50, the 50mm 1.8, I set out and I started my business, and I didn't have a clue where to start. So I did what any sane person would do, and I started shooting weddings part-time. Now, this wasn't because I had some grand idea and I wanted to be a millionaire by the time I was 30, but it was literally because I saw photography as a bit of a way of being able to generate just a little bit more income to be able to not only support my hobby, but eventually make it my full-time career. So what I didn't quite understand was how much work that there would be alongside running a business, especially when you were doing it part-time alongside another job. So it took me probably 10 to 15 weddings before I gained enough confidence to be able to photograph them on my own, where I didn't really have to worry about cocking anything up. Because honestly, after the first few weddings that I shot, I really didn't think wedding photography was for me. The pressure and the chaos of a wedding day got quite overwhelming quite quickly, and I really wasn't sure if I could see myself doing this long term. But after a few, I did start to find my groove a touch, and this sort of really helped cement the fact that I really did want to shoot weddings in some capacity going forward. One of the biggest advantages of starting part-time is the fact that you do not have to worry about your bills being paid because your full-time job has got them covered. So knowing that the mortgage is going to be paid at the end of the month meant that you can take the money that you earned from your photography and reinvest in yourself in other ways. So you can pay for advertisements, you can pay for more marketing, you can go on workshops, you can go on business workshops and things like that. So being able to say no to those wrong clients can help you in other ways, not just in the photography way as well. So I've never really felt the pressure to have to go full time. I nearly did in 2020, sort of in the January, because I had 21 weddings on the books. However, we all know pretty much what happened not even later on that year, a couple of months later. The whole world completely shut down. And out of the 21 weddings that I had on my books, I ended up shooting 3. So I lost a massive chunk of my income that year. And if I'd have taken the leap at the beginning of the year to go full time, I wouldn't have had that financial backup that I had for being on furlough from my full-time job behind me to make sure that the bills were paid every month. Since then, I have now moved into another full-time job, and I absolutely love it. I really wouldn't change my job for the world. But this means that I get the security of having all my bills paid every month, and I get the privilege of being able to turn up to weddings at the weekends and photograph it for them and earn a little bit of pocket money in the same time. So if you're sat there really thinking that, this isn't a real business because I'm not full time, you just sort of need to switch your mindset, because we're in 2025 now. I mean, people have side hustles all the time. It's something to be proud of, because at the end of the day, you are working hard to maintain a business as well as working full time. Not only that, if you're anything like me, you might have a family at home, and it's really something that you need to embrace. So one of the biggest mistakes that I see people make when it comes to starting a part-time photography business is taking on too many weddings too soon. So if you're anything like me, then too much information thrown at you at the same time can be very overwhelming. And me myself personally, when this does happen, I tend to go into a bit of a shutdown mode. So if you are obviously working a full-time job, you have got the pressures of that as well. So don't worry yourself too much about booking too many weddings right at the beginning, because they will eventually come. But if you're only just starting out, you really do need to understand weddings at the core before taking on 10, 15, 20 of them a year. The second mistake I see people making is obsessing over gear too soon. Gear is important, yes, it does make your job a hell of a lot easier. However, it's not as important as something like advertising and marketing. If you can buy just about enough gear to be able to get decent results, I won't say perfect results, but decent enough results that people will be happy to pay for, then you would be better off saving your money and working with a good marketer or an advertiser to help you with Google ads, Facebook ads, or Meta ads as it's called now. And they'll be able to sort of put you on the right path, and doing it that way will have the money come in a hell of a lot quicker than it would by buying that £2,000 lens. Oh, and while we're here as well, can you please stop comparing yourself to a photographer who might be shooting 40, 50 weddings a year? They're not like you. It's literally their full-time job. And you need to understand that they've got a lot more time during the week to be able to invest into their business, into the marketing and into the advertising and things like that than you have. So don't put too much pressure on yourself straight away. You literally cannot dedicate as much time. It's physically not possible to dedicate as much time to your craft as they are. So you probably will fall behind in that aspect, but that's perfectly okay. There is literally nothing wrong with that. You're not falling behind, you're literally just playing a different game, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. Also, the third thing that I sort of want to point out is just value your time. It's insane how time consuming this business can be. People only see what sort of happens during the day while you turn up and take those pretty pictures for them. They don't see the editing work that goes on behind. They don't see the countless times you're stood in front of a camera like a lemon, like I am right now, recording stuff for social media. Just go easy on yourself, value your time, and just remember that you've got other people around you who would like to spend some time with you as well. I'm guilty of this. I think you speak to most photographers, they'll be exactly the same as well. So yeah, just value your time, outsource things if you need to. There's some great AI tools out there now that can help you edit, because you might think that there's no one out there who can do it as good as you. But if you do have sort of a little bit of a look around, you'll be surprised how many people out there who are as good as you, if not better. So what makes wedding photography worth it to me is the buzz I get out of being at a wedding. Naturally, I am quite an introverted person, and being able to go to a wedding, I don't know whether it's the atmosphere or what, it allows me to be a little more extroverted. So speaking of introversion and extroversion, I've got some people walking towards me now, so I'm going to be turning this off in a sec. But having, you know, but being in the middle of a wedding day really does allow me to sort of be a little bit more extroverted, get in the middle of the dance floor with people and just enjoy what I'm doing. And not only that, the reactions you get out of people when when you deliver your pictures and they see those photos and they relive those moments as well. It's, yeah, you can't put a price on that. So yeah, if you're looking at starting a photography business on the side of your 9 to 5, I hope this video gave you a little bit more clarity, maybe a little bit more confidence in why maybe a part-time photography business might be the best for you. So you don't need to quit your day job, you don't need to shoot 50 weddings a year, and you don't need to go out and buy a lot of expensive gear. You just need to do what's right by you and just enjoy the process and don't burn yourself out before you've even begun. In the next video, if you want to give me a follow, I'm going to be talking a little bit about the gear that you actually need when you come to shooting your first few weddings. And to be honest with you, you really don't need as much as you think you need. So if you've got any questions about starting, or if you've got something that's holding you back, pop them in the comments down below and I'll try to get back to as many as possible. For now, I'm going to enjoy that sunset, try not to be eaten too much by flies, and yeah, soak it all in, because we live in an absolutely beautiful part of the world. So yeah, thanks for watching.